All right, let's talk malware. Quick question. When I say that word, what do you picture? I'm guessing for a lot of you it's an old, clunky Windows PC, right? Well, here's the thing. In 2025, that mental image is, well, it's totally out of date. The whole game has changed.
So let me just ask you straight up. You think your Mac or your Android phone is safe? Like really safe from malware? If you're nodding your head yes right now, hey, you're not alone. But the reality? It's a whole different story.
Okay, so here's what we're going to cover today. We'll kick things off with why we're looking beyond the good old Windows PC. Then, we're going to dive deep into Android as a target. After that, we'll bust some myths about Macs not being immune. Then we'll get to the big one, the human factor. And finally, we'll wrap up by looking at what all this means for 2026. All right, first up, beyond the Windows PC. And this is a big one, because the whole threat landscape, it has completely shifted. The old rules just don't apply anymore. At the end of the day, for cybercriminals, it's all just a numbers game. Think about it. Our lives are on our phones, our tablets, all these different devices now. So where do you think the bad guys are going? Yep, right where we are. And in 2025, we saw this huge jump in campaigns aimed squarely at Android and Mac OS.
So let's talk about your Android. It has become a massive target. And I'm not talking about those annoying little pop-up ads. No, we're talking about some seriously sophisticated stuff.
The main weapon of choice here is something called a banking Trojan. And look, these things aren't exactly new, but the way they're built now, it's kind of staggering. This is malware that's disguised to look exactly like a real app you trust. Maybe your banking app, a delivery service, whatever. But its one and only job is to steal your financial details. So how does this actually work? Well, one of the most clever tricks is called an overlay attack. The best way to think about it is like a digital version of a card skimmer at a gas pump. You go to open your legitimate banking app, right? The second you do, the malware slaps an identical fake login screen right on top of it. It looks perfect. You'd never know. So you punch in your username and password, and bam, the malware just snatched your credentials. It's incredibly sneaky and honestly, brutally effective. Okay, so that's Android. But what about the other side of the fence? Macs. For years, we've all heard it, right? Macs don't get viruses, they're unhackable. Well, it was a nice story, but in 2025, it's officially just a myth.
And what's really interesting is how they do it. See, most malware targeting Macs isn't some super complex code that breaks through Apple's defenses. Nope. As Malwarebytes puts it, the whole strategy is to trick you, the person sitting in the chair, into running the malicious commands yourself.
The big threats we're seeing are these things called information stealers. They've got these intense names like Amos and Radimantis, and they often get to you through a campaign nicknamed ClickFix. Basically, you land on a fake website that tells you something is wrong with your computer, and it gives you a simple command to copy and paste to fix it. The catch? That command is the malware. You literally become the one who infects your own machine. And all of this, it leads us to what is maybe the single most important piece of the puzzle, the human factor. Because at the end of the day, the real target isn't your device, it's you. The research on this uncovered something pretty fascinating about our behavior. It turns out that iPhone users, for whatever reason, tend to be a bit more prone to falling for scams. On the flip side, Android users seem to be a little more on guard about mobile security. Now, this isn't about which phone is better, not at all. It's just a perfect example of how our own awareness plays a massive role, no matter what brand you're loyal to.
Because really, almost all of these threats, it doesn't matter if it's on Android or a Mac, they boil down to one thing: social engineering. It's all about playing on human psychology. Fake apps prey on our trust. Romance scams prey on our desire for connection. Sextortion scams prey on our fear. It's all about finding a way around the technology by going straight for our emotions.
And that brings us to the most critical takeaway. Your first line of defense? It's not your operating system. It's not some fancy software. It's education. It's simply knowing what these tricks look like, having a healthy dose of skepticism, and just understanding the game they're trying to play. Okay, so let's tie this all together and look ahead. What does this all mean for 2026 and beyond? This timeline really lays it all out, doesn't it? In the past, it was all about Windows. Then, in 2025, we saw the explosion of these complex threats for Android and Macs. So where are we going? Well, the trend is crystal clear. In 2026 and beyond, we're looking at multi-platform attacks that are all fueled by that one key ingredient, social engineering. So if there is one single thing you take away from all of this, let it be this. Your biggest vulnerability isn't your device. It's not the hardware. It's your behavior. It's about what you click, who you decide to trust, and frankly, how aware you are of the risks.
And that leaves me with one last question for you to chew on. Now that we know just how much the threats have changed, is your security strategy still stuck in the past?